So, Lelouch is back, but at what cost? Welcome back to OtakuDaiKun. I recently had the pleasure of watching the latest Code Geass movie, Lelouch of the Resurrection, in theaters. Without spoilers, I can safely say that the film was quite fun and exciting. There's no reason a Code Geass fan should stray from what is essentially another opportunity to see the same iconic and gorgeous art style brought to the big screen, looking better than ever. Honestly, it was everything I expected it to be. And I'm glad to hear that this is just one step in a larger revival effort for the franchise. That said, this movie's entire existence is quite strange, with it having an intriguing history. I'd like to talk about that, so proceed with discretion. Spoilers and such. Long ago, I made a video detailing the lore of the Code Geass anime series. It was meant to catch everyone up on the anime's events in preparation for what was originally thought to be a new season continuing Lelouch's story. There was a problem with that, though. Lelouch was dead. And it wasn't just any death. His death was meaningful to the story and its themes. The entire narrative of Code Geass centered around Lelouch trying to overthrow his father for the betterment of the world, and more specifically his little sister. Lelouch embarked on a campaign of blood, sacrificing many lives, both innocent and nefarious, to succeed. Hell, his own slogan became something along the lines of, "Those who are prepared to kill must also be prepared to be killed." And he stuck with it at the very end. With his tyrannical father out of the picture, Lelouch and his best friend Suzaku came up with the Zero Requiem, a plan to unite the entire world under a common enemy, himself. Lelouch conquered the world and made himself its supreme leader. In an act of heroism, Suzaku, dressed as Zero, publicly assassinated Lelouch, causing the whole world to celebrate in triumph of their liberation. This was splendid news for everyone, minus those in on the plan. Lelouch's sister, Nanali, finally pieced together what he was up to, and wept for her brother. C2 also shed tears for his act of martyrdom. 'Twas a damn fine conclusion, and fans were willing to accept Lelouch's death as penance for the innocent people killed as part of his campaign. So it came as quite a surprise to hear that a follow-up was in the works, telling the further story of an otherwise dead man. Fans desperately swarmed to theorize just how Lelouch could have either survived the assassination or how he could be brought back to life. The worst of these theories was based around a bogus image circulating with Lelouch being the driver of a carriage at the very end. It was debunked, and a much more common theory began to spread, that Lelouch had inherited his father Charles's code of immortality. This would allow Lelouch to be stabbed and convincingly die, while at the same time regaining consciousness sometime later. There was a huge flaw to this theory, however. In every other instance thus far, anyone who obtained a code of immortality lost their ability to use Geass. And yet Lelouch was seen using his Geass power between the events of his father's defeat and the conclusion of the Zero Requiem. A third, less comprehensive theory was something I noted in my lore video way back, that the world of C functions as a sort of afterlife. While the body dies, one's consciousness finds its way to C's world and joins the collective unconscious. C2 had been using her connection to the world of C to converse with the dead, such as with Lelouch's mother, Marianne. Minds within the world of C can inhabit the bodies of those who live in the mortal world. Perhaps Lelouch did die and would simply be resurrected, as the title suggests, by finding a way for his consciousness to take control of someone else's body. Well, things happened. What we thought would be a third season turned into a series of 3 compilation films that summarized the original anime's story while also making some noteworthy changes along the way. The famed Lelouch of the Resurrection, or R3, was revealed to be a sequel to the compilation films and not the original series. In part, this was so that the original anime series could maintain its beautiful ending, while at the same time creating an alternate cinematic universe that could take the story in bold new directions. Essentially, we were being given the best of both worlds. Thus, in the anime series, it's confirmed that Lelouch is dead. Period. So all those fan theories just migrated their way to the movie timeline. This is nothing new when you consider how visual novels such as Fate Stay Night happen to have multiple branching storylines. We as fans are versatile enough to have a favorite route or ending while still enjoying the others. Now that the film has finally released, all of our theorizing has come to a close. Just how does Lelouch manage to come back? Does he resurrect? Does he have a code? The answer is a mix of both, really. When Lelouch ordered the collective unconscious of C's world to collapse, he also vanquished his father, inheriting his code in a way we've never seen before in the franchise. It kept Lelouch's body alive, but his mind got trapped in the world of C, sending C2 on a rather laborious quest to recover it. So Charles's code theory was close, but not comprehensive of the phenomena. This Lelouch, after gaining back his consciousness, is revealed to have a unique code that keeps him alive, but offers no protection against other Geass users. In exchange, Lelouch maintains his ability to use his own Geass. In addition, he's not the only person in the world to have this new code. The film's antagonist has it too. TLDR, Lelouch dismantling the collective unconscious caused the world of C to behave differently than it used to, allowing for new and bizarre anomalies that are awfully convenient for the plot. That said, I'm not here to focus on how Lelouch was brought back, so much as why. A decade after the anime ended on a solid note, here we are reuniting with the characters and disregarding our previous understanding of the lore. Was it worth the effort? Upon going through so much work to change continuity, is this new movie any better than the original anime? I'd say not, but I suppose it depends on the person. For what it alters from the original, it does offer some pretty cool things I liked seeing. I loved seeing C2 go on her journey, carrying Lelouch's zoned-out body across the world. The way they spun the narrative so that Lelouch coming back was because she wanted him back was a nice touch. This blossoms into one of the film's greatest moments, when C2 holds a gun to Lelouch, telling him she didn't go through all that effort bringing him back, to not have him be the overconfident, diligent strategist she fell in love with. This peaks with C2's amazingly joyful smile when Lelouch decides to travel with her under the name L2. It's definitely the highlight of the movie, and acknowledging the two of them as the official pairing might be worth all the effort to some. Then there's Colin. It was great seeing her be a total badass, even more so than before. Her regional outfit is sexy as hell, too. Understandably, she's emotionally shaken by Lelouch's return, ultimately being happy to see him again. It doesn't develop any deeper than that, really, but her arc had already resolved prior to the film, so I wasn't expecting anything deeper. The same goes for Suzaku, really. Other than him being a skilled mech pilot, there's not much for him to really do. He beats the shit out of Lelouch, under the false assumption that he knew all along he wouldn't die, and then goes back to being a supportive friend when he finds out the truth. If anything, I'd say it's nice seeing Suzaku and Lelouch get along, even if only for a moment. All the other side characters, the combat ones anyway, don't have much of a role in the film, but seeing them all fight on the same team is a welcome change of pace. Nunnally is an interesting case. She spends the majority of the film in captivity, unable to speak. That's pretty typical of her. But upon being rescued, she gets a more satisfying resolution with Lelouch. She has the chance to fully understand and accept the sacrifices Lelouch had made for her sake. Randomly though, just who the hell are those two hands that save Nunnally and Lelouch from getting lost in C's world? Last they met, Lelouch wasn't on the best terms with his parents. I've heard speculation that it's Yuffie and Rollo, but that doesn't sound right either. What do you think? Let's take a look at Shamna, the story's antagonist. I like how they introduce her nation as being one of the few to struggle as a result of the peace brought by the Zero Requiem. Their economy thrived on war profiteering, and so she was desperate to save her kingdom. In the brief time we see her, we learn quite a lot. Her Geass is really exciting, allowing her to send her memories back in time at the moment of her death, which she can use to redo certain events in an attempt to come out on top. I like how she regrets having to use her Geass with regards to her brother Shalio. It implies that Shalio has lost many a battle, but she's had to keep rewinding time to offer him combat advice until he wins. The way Lelouch has to pinpoint what her Geass is becomes really dramatic and exciting. That said, Shamna's plan to use Nunnally to access the world of C comes off as a bit far-fetched. Regardless, her bodyguards were drop-dead gorgeous. The most baffling use of this continued story has got to be Shirley. Or rather, the lack of her in the film. The previous 3 compilation films had altered circumstances exclusively so that Shirley could survive. And now that they've established her survival, they barely put her in the film. I honestly can't even remember if she had a speaking role. She gets a phone call from Lelouch during the credits, and she gets a brief appearance with Millie, and that's it. I can't help but feel that was a wasted opportunity. But as I've said before, this film is not the end of the revival. It's the beginning. So yeah, the world of C is all wonky now, in some floating ball of... what was it? People's regrets? It explodes, sending shards of what I've read are Geass shards across the world. And the post-credits sequence implies that Lelouch and C2 are traveling the land to find them, though the details are hella vague. Don't quote me on any of it. The ending song is even called Revive, so it's clear as day we'll be getting more clarification on these developments eventually. So no, this movie doesn't present anything too mind-blowing to ever eclipse the rich impact and meaning the original anime left with us. Rather, it's a fun excuse to see a new plot route of sorts where our favorite characters can once again shine in the spotlight. Honestly, I just like the universe of Code Geass. Akito the Exiled was fantastic, so it didn't need Lelouch and company to carry the story. Regardless, I'm glad this legendary anime is back in business. What do you think of Lelouch of the Resurrection? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy this channel, help me beat the algorithm by liking, commenting, and sharing the video, subscribing to OtakuDaiKun, and most of all, smashing that notification bell as if it were your waifu. That way you'll never miss out on all of my anime content, lore videos, live streams, and Holy Waifu Wars polls. My vids are struggling to get featured, so that bell is absolutely critical. If you want to support me directly, check out my Patreon, or consider donating via Super Chat. And as always, celebrate your fandom.